So it's been a while since I've done a from scratch blaster build, and this was going to be a simple project. Just take a Stryfe, give it a simple paint job, throw in some worker wheels, and basically call it a day. And then I walked into a thread talking about making the cheap man's version of the Dr. Sneakus flywheel cage using worker wheels and brass, and whether or not it would help with accuracy while keeping your performance the same. So that's what this has kind of turned into. But first, some sexy shots. Now before I get into all the chronograph data and the shooting and all that stuff, let's talk about the blaster itself because that's what this video is kind of about. So we'll start with the outside and work our way in. And I need to get my sheet of paper here with all the stuff on it because there is a lot. So starting with the outside, we have a Duplicolor vinyl and fabric white for the primer, Duplicolor Perfect Match Volkswagen Reflex Silver Metallic for the silver stripe, and the can kind of stopped working once I was done with the main stripes, so then I had to start using a Duplicolor Toyota Classic Silver because I couldn't find the Volkswagen paint, which was really weird. Anyways, the blue is a Duplicolor Honda Electron Pearl Blue. I used a Tester's Gloss Blue for my name on the battery tray. I took a toothpick and I kind of just dipped it in there and let it seep into all the little crevices and stuff. And I used a Duplicolor Matte Acrylic Enamel Clear Coat. So I wanted to try out a new clear coat because the old stuff I was using wasn't really like a coat, like a protective coat. It was just kind of like a layer that could easily be scratched off. So I gave this stuff a shot. And originally this blue was a medium, very sparkly blue, and the silver was a very shiny, sparkly silver. And now it has this matte look on the silver and just this grayish matte look on the blue. That's not from the clear coat clouding, that's just what it does. And I'm not upset with the paint job at all, I think it looks pretty darn great, but this is nothing like what it looked like originally. Like, I'm surprised at how much the color has changed on this, but overall I do like the look, but I don't know if I'm going to be using that clear coat for upcoming projects, so I'm going to look around some more, but I do like how this paint job turned out regardless. Inside of the Stryfe, we have, and I'm going to have to get my list out again, 16 gauge silicone wire going all throughout it with a 21 amp rated switch right here in the grip, a nice hefty switch for those lipos. The thing is running Falcon motors, which are 3S motors, and they're not around anymore, but they were very, very popular. And with those flywheels, we have worker wheels on them. There's a Containment Crew extended battery tray cover right here for the Stryfe that just gives the Stryfe a bit more space, and they put my name on it, and it looks great. I love it, and I need to get more of them. On the inside of the battery tray area, I flattened the entire place down so you can shove your lipos in there and there's nothing in the way. But I've also put a piece of polycarb going up to the top in order to kind of extend the floor of the battery tray so your battery isn't like sticking into the Stryfe itself. And because of that little expansion, I have enough room for an XT60 connector to kind of hide in the top. I really like XT60 connectors. There's nothing wrong with Dean's connectors. If I didn't have the extended tray, I would definitely be using a Dean connector because they're slightly smaller. But because I have a lot of XT60 connectors, that's what I put in this because I have room for it. And in the flywheel cage, I have a piece of 9/16 brass that's been cut so the flywheels don't run into anything, and it's been cut about 2 inches away from the flywheel so that it doesn't stick out of the front barrel because I don't want anyone like jabbing someone with it or having to put like a piece of PVC over it to cover it because that would just kind of make the look weird, I guess. But that leads us in to the whole experimentation part of this Stryfe. So I'm going to be reading off this piece of paper for all my test stuff because I'm definitely gonna forget it while I'm trying to talk to the camera, and then there's gonna be a bunch of jump cuts and no one wants to watch that. So the way I set this up was I was shooting all coup starts. 1, because I don't have elites. 2, I don't want to go out and buy new elites because that would cost a lot. And 3, I already had some, and they're all in the big drawer right there that I'm saving up for NVZ. Now, I did not go through and inspect all the coup starts like some people do. I just kind of used them as they came. So there were some wonky darts that got through, but if I did see like excess glue past the head on the stem or something, I would kind of pick it off the best I could. So weren't inspected. There were definitely some wonky darts in there after I did my dart sweep. But yeah, that's how I went about it. The LiPo I used was a 3S 2650 milliamp hour 30 to 40C LiPo for the Falcons because they like to run off of a 3S LiPo. And you can find all footage of the chronograph testing at the end of this video for those who don't believe me and want some proof. So with the brass barrel, my little fill light over here decides to go out, so it's very dark and stuff over in this corner, so please ignore that. Very unprofessional of me, but I'm too lazy to go charge it up. So with the brass barrel, with 40 shots, the lowest reading was 90.79 FPS, and the highest was 131.1, and the average of the 40 shots was 116.5. Now, having the brass barrel did help with accuracy, but only when you shot it at a slower rate of fire. If you kind of went da 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 da, darts really didn't keep too on track. But at the slower pace, they were way more consistent than I thought they would be, honestly. But there was a really weird thing that happened in which elite darts really hated like working in this thing. They kept jamming. And I have darts that have these massive little U's just burned out of them from getting stuck in the flywheels. And it's weird because when I was making the barrel for this, I would constantly check to make sure elite darts would just drop through it freely. And for some reason they just jammed. I have no idea what the problem is, so I don't know what's up with that, but for this build, elite darts really hated firing out of this setup, so yeah. Now without the brass barrel, the FPS readings out of 25 shots were the lowest, being at 101, and the highest of 132.1, and the average of those 25 shots was 124.836, or about 8 FPS more than with the brass barrel. Higher rate of fire, you know, it went off. But like slow firing it, definitely a noticeable difference. So the barrel does help with accuracy, but you're gonna get less consistent FPS readings, and they're gonna be lower, and maybe elite darts won't work with your build. I still don't know what the heck's going on with that, but maybe they'll work for you, maybe they won't, but for me, they did not. So those are my results for the Cheap Man's Dr. Sneakus flywheel cage that I have now put into this video that was supposed to be about a simple Stryfe build. And if you've ever wondered what the aftermath of me filming a video looks like, here is just a little taste. The things I do for this channel, wow. With or without the barrel, I am very happy with how this build turned out. For something that was very simplistic and, you know, just 2 colors, I think it turned out very nicely, and I really dig this magwell thing. I will probably be doing this to more Stryfe builds in the future because it just looks really cool. I also really like how the battery tray came out. The painting the name on there really makes it kind of pop, but it also blends in at certain angles, which I like a lot. So there you have it, a mod video and an experimentation data thing video all rolled into one. Hope I didn't bore most of you, but there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a great day wherever you are.